And they would yell to the crowd, "Oh, you better shut your lip, or I'll give you some of this sunshine."
Dick Slater looks like a wrestler's wrestler, doesn't he? He just looks like a grimy wrestler.
These two went at each other like fucking savages. They were slapping and kicking. It looked like they were trying to kill each other. And they were yelling, "Hafada! Ush!
Yeah.
Ush!"
And it finally hit me why he was doing rhymes. It's because he's a giant.
Yeah.
And giants speak in rhymes. So you know what time it is.
It's that wrestling rewind. And yep, we are going to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, in the swamps with the gators and crawdads and stuff for Slamboree 1996, presented by World Championship Wrestling. The key feature of this event was a Lord of the Ring tournament in which the wrestlers were randomly paired in a lethal lottery tag team matches to qualify for a battle royal. The winner of the battle royal would earn a title shot for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, didn't you get all that?
Yeah. So we have yet another tournament, which seems to be the thing back in the day and today, because we have a fucking US title tournament. So tournaments galore. Dusty Rhodes, Bobby the Brain Heenan, and Tony Schiavone are on commentary. And the night starts off with Animal and Booker T versus Hawk and Lex Luger. Fight breaks out between Luger and Hawk. Then Animal and Hawk beat the fuck out of Luger. All four men, they fight outside for a double countout. Now, the whole thing was they're wanting Animal and Hawk to tag in and fight each other, but of course they wouldn't because they're a tag team.
Right, yep.
They're brothers. And that was really the only, I guess, anticipation for this match, is to see if the Road Warriors would duke it out. But clearly they weren't going to. And especially when
Hawk never even tagged into the match, I don't think.
he tagged in. They both tagged in. They just didn't tag in together.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, he did. He didn't tag in for a long time.
Right. And then, when Hawk and Luger were going at it, Animal just started attacking Luger.
Yeah.
Booker T wasn't even a factor at all. So yeah, double count out, and then the Road Warriors, they high-five in the ring like they were the winners. And I wrote, this is going to be a long pay-per-view.
I thought it was going to be a wild pay-per-view. We weren't going to know what was happening.
There wasn't too much of that.
Yeah, it calmed down after this match, really. Where I thought we were going was it's going to be so confusing that
yeah,
you're going to have to, the little meme with Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and he's doing like the map, trying to map out.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be something like that.
The only confusing part was that some teams stay together.
Yeah, it was a little cheating, but
yeah, well, some of them cheated. I think some of them just were together, like Public Enemy.
Well, I'm saying it's a little convenient.
Yeah, I'm sure the little lethal lottery thing made sense, but just watching it cold and seeing the fucking Road Warriors on opposite corners, and then next you see the Public Enemy, they're tagging together.
So convenient.
Yeah. So yeah, Public Enemy versus Taskmaster and Chris Benoit is next. And I guess this was an unannounced DQ match because Sullivan just used a chair. Public Enemy, they put Benoit through a table. And after Benoit goes through the table, Public Enemy rolls him in for the win. Sullivan, he's getting carried away by Jimmy Hart, and he's screaming, "My leg, Jimmy! Jimmy, my leg!" And he walks away from the match with Hart. This was kind of a nothing match as well. And
Sure was.
I have no idea why the history of anything has the Public Enemy going over Chris Benoit.
Well, because, Sullivan didn't really help him. This is essentially a handicap match.
Doesn't matter. Chris Benoit is a horseman at this point.
Well, that was the craziest match. When you get there.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. So up next is Sergeant Craig Pittman with Teddy Long and Scott Steiner versus the Booty Man with Kimberly, and he is partnering with Rick Steiner. And the highlight of this match was Rick and Scott wrestling each other.
And the second highlight was that the Booty Babe was not wearing a bra and her nipples were hard.
They sure were. And they didn't let her talk very long.
True.
But yeah, Scott and Rick, first of all, they both look like brick shit houses.
Yeah, you can see the makings of the early Big Papa Pump already there.
He looked like a fucking building. Just all shoulders. all shoulders and arms.
The largest arms in the world.
So yeah, Rick and Scott, they wrestle. They played it up like two brothers. They were very competitive, and that's kind of what it looked like. There wasn't punches and unnecessary kicks. They just mat wrestled. And it looked like Scott eventually got the better of Rick, but I am looking forward to a match between Rick and Scott in the future. A proper match.
Yeah.
Rick Steiner, he pins Pittman with a bridging German suplex. And the Booty Babe says, "Now that was teamwork. Woo!"
I was like, just shut up.
Yeah, just show your nipples.
Yeah, which were there, very present.
Yes. Clearly her only saving grace.
Clearly. In the second match, they were even harder than the first match. It's like, what, is she rubbing ice on him back there?
Maybe. Maybe it's Dallas's suggestion. Okay, now what you really want to do is get your ice cubes.
Yeah.
So the Blue Bloods versus Hacksaw Jim Duggan and VK Wall Street is next. VK Wall Street would be IRS for you WWF fans. And the Blue Bloods is Squire Dave Taylor and Lord Steven Regal. And Regal was great as always. I liked the part before the match where he lifted his bicep with one finger and showed it to the crowd to make it seem like he was more jacked than he was.
It's like, look at that bicep.
Yeah, and then he would yell to the crowd, "Oh, you better shut your lip or I'll give you some of this sunshine."
Yeah.
Very English. I wish we could have seen more of Squire Dave Taylor. He looks solid. I know Dave Taylor's something. I don't know what.
Mm-hmm.
Duggan was Duggan. Boy was Duggan. So Wall Street refused to tag in for Duggan at one point. So Duggan socks all three men in the ring. Then Duggan pulls out a roll of tape. And then he takes 20 minutes to wind it around his fist in a cartoon-like manner. And finally, Duggan punches Taylor for the win. And then Duggan makes no attempt to hide his tape. And
not at all.
Yeah, and the ref, while staring directly at the dangling tape, raises Duggan's arm.
I even think he held the taped arm.
Yeah, he did. He was staring directly at the tape, watching it just swing.
Yeah, so I was like,
you can see the ref's head swing with the tape. Like, what's that?
Yeah, but I guess that wasn't a DQ. It's just tape.
That was a foreign object.
It was just tape. There was nothing in the tape.
Then why didn't he have tape on his hand before the match?
I don't know, because that's his finishing move.
Why did he have tape?
His finisher.
Why did he wrestle with tape next to his dick the whole match then? Wouldn't you want? Why would you opt to wrestle with tape next to your dick?
Because you're
if that is not an option that you have to take.
You're being a showman. It's ridiculous also that Wall Street was clearly not trying to tag with him.
Yeah, well, they were feuding, it seemed like.
Well, I'm saying he still won the match. Like, well, you didn't think about that. What's going to happen in round 2 now? Like, you should have just let the match go.
Duggan's going to do the same thing. He's got multiple rolls of tape that he puts next to his dick.
And yeah, he was trying to roll the whole roll on his hand, too.
And get used to that, because I think that becomes his thing.
I actually kind of liked it, so I'm not even mad at it.
I enjoy Duggan. He's so fucking ridiculous. So up next is Dirty Dick Slater and Earl Robert Eaton with Colonel Robert Parker versus Alex Wright and Disco Inferno. And this was great only for Dick Slater and Bobby Eaton. They're two legends doing what they do best.
Dick Slater looks like a wrestler's wrestler, doesn't he?
Oh my God.
He just looks like a grimy wrestler.
Yeah. He's got that like frog face. Doesn't look like he tells a lot of jokes. Doesn't look like the type of man that throws his head back and laughs in merriment. Looks like the type of guy that would just be drinking by himself, smoking indoors, regardless of what the signs say.
Yeah.
Probably has a girlfriend with 2 black eyes.
Well, he might actually be more of a dip guy. And then I was thinking, there was that guy, the wrestler who used to dip. He had the dip, and it would like run
Skinner.
down. Yeah. I was like, it seems like Slater should be his partner. Because, yeah, he's just like a wrestler's wrestler right there.
Yeah. He had the fucking gas station t-shirt.
Yeah.
And the cowboy. Yeah, just everything about him was great. So Disco and Alex Wright, they actually worked well together. But Disco's a dumb fuck because he was dancing. And Slater hit him in the back of the head with his cowboy boot. So they won.
Yep.
I thought it was a little silly that Dick Slater had to win with a cowboy boot because Wright and Disco looked like children compared to him. But what are you going to do?
Oh, and the ref saw it at the end too. He's like, "Why is your shoe off?"
Yeah. So up next is DDP and the Barbarian versus Hugh Morris and Ming. DDP is back from homelessness, and you can start to see him become the DDP that we all know and love. I especially like the yellow pants.
Yeah, this is right before he goes to blue jeans and taped waist.
Yeah, because I remember he had the sparkly pants, and then he goes to the jeans.
Yeah.
So I didn't think anything could top Rick and Scott Steiner until Ming and the goddamn Barbarian went at it. When I think of Samoans or Tongans, I think of Ming. From my experience with Tongans, Ming is closer to that. I know it's two different countries, but anyway, these two went at each other like fucking savages. They were slapping and kicking. It looked like they were trying to kill each other. And they were yelling. Yeah.
At one point, Barbarian throws a spin kick. Like, look at this big ass dude throwing this roundhouse.
Barbarian was athletic as fuck.
Apparently.
Ming was too.
Yeah.
You kind of expect that from Ming, though. He just looks more fluid. Anyway, DDP and the Barbarian, they won. They did this confusing double pin thing that I didn't quite get. So Morris and the Barbarian, they're the legal men. Morris hits a moonsault on Barbarian. Paige breaks up the pin. Ming and Paige, they start getting into it. So then Ming fucks up Paige, and then he kicks him in the face. At the same time, Barbarian kicks Hugh Morris in the face. So Ming, who's not the legal man, pins DDP, who is also not the legal man. Then Barbarian, who's legal, pins Morris, who is also legal. So then dumbfuck Randy Anderson, he does the thing where he counts with both hands. But then he says that DDP wasn't pinned only because his feet wasn't under the ropes. They weren't legal!
Yeah, I don't know what they were going for there. Well, I know what they were going for, I guess. I don't know. It was weird.
It was fucking stupid.
If we want to really go there, I don't know where he would have seen that DDP's legs was under the ropes, because he was definitely not in the position to see that.
It looked like that was almost like an afterthought. Like, oh, well, I didn't pin him because, his leg's on the rope, see? It was stupid. So Big Bubba and Stevie Ray versus Scott Norton and Ice Train are next. Scott Norton and Ice Train, they're a tag team called Fire and Ice.
And it's just two big ass dudes.
Yes. And Scott Norton is in the Dick Slater territory where it's don't want to run into them in a dark alley.
Yeah, how are those two that build? Like, how do you make a build like that? Like their big ass chest.
I don't know. I'm sure a lot of it's genetics.
They're saying the size of their bones.
Yeah.
Is just crazy.
They don't look like they were gym rats either. Norton was a strong man.
Yeah, they had that strongman look, I guess. Ice Train didn't. He was actually the more flabbier of the two.
Yeah. But he still looked like he could lift a tree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Scott Norton and Ice Train, they win with a double shoulder tackle thing. This was a nothing match. I thought it was shocking that in a pay-per-view of nothing but tag matches, neither member of Harlem Heat went to the second round.
Well, it wasn't their time.
It should always be their time.
Well, yeah, I was surprised that Booker T got eliminated, seeing as we learned in that convoluted opening that whoever wins whatever the end of this trail is gets a title match.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of like Stevie a little bit more. He kind of reminds me of Michael Jai White, the guy that played Spawn.
Oh, I think I could see that, yeah.
Yeah. So Eddie Guerrero and Arn Anderson had a match against the Nature Boy Ric Flair and Macho Man Randy Savage. So they play Flair's music, but Flair doesn't come out. Then they play Savage's music, and he comes out. Then they play Flair's music again. Then Arn Anderson attacks Savage while that's playing, and then Flair, he runs out, sort of. He kind of does this little jog, walk, run thing. And then he comes out and he attacks Savage. And then Woman and Elizabeth, they sneak out to just stand there. And then Anderson DDTs Eddie and Flair pins him. And the whole time...
himself the match.
Yeah, because he's the enforcer. And then Anderson and Flair, they beat Savage's ass after the match. And then Flair carries Elizabeth to Savage. The fallen Savage. Then he and Arn Anderson pick up Savage, hold his arm so Elizabeth can slap him. Then Anderson DDTs Savage on the floor. The medical people are tending to Savage. Flair just runs back and starts hitting Savage again. That was interesting.
It was definitely interesting. I liked how in the opening of the match, Ric Flair runs out and he's attacking the Macho Man. Eddie Guerrero's like, "What the hell?" And he just like turns Flair around and pokes him in the eye.
Yeah.
That was funny, but yeah. I mean, Arn Anderson is a trooper, isn't he? Like giving up his own spot to help Flair win.
Well, just being in this match. Like, it seems like all the things that he's involved in with Ric Flair are just the most ridiculous. Because keep in mind, last month they were in that Doomsday Cage.
Right. It's like, why do you keep putting me in these situations?
Right. Can't we just have a match?
Remember wrestling? Can't we just do normal wrestling?
But I thought like the Hogan shit was very convoluted and over the top. But Ric Flair's is pretty bad too. I think the bigger that you get, the more creative freedom that you get. And I think that's a bad thing. At least in this era.
I will say Flair and Macho Man, in some way, shape, or form, pretty sure they've been like wrestling every pay-per-view. I was thinking about it and I was like, I think they've wrestled in some way, shape, or form every pay-per-view we've seen. I'd have to fact check that, but I think, yeah, pretty much.
It's been in quite a few pay-per-views. They've been involved with each other, at least.
Yeah.
So after this match, Mean Gene goes over the order of the second round of the tournament with the least sexy Hooters girls I've ever seen in my life.
And overdressed.
And overdressed. Which is like, why? Why don't you just have your grandma?
Yeah.
So Brad Armstrong and Dean Malenko have a match for the Cruiserweight Championship. And fun fact, Dean Malenko was like one of my favorite cruiserweights back in the day. And yeah, this was a Dean Malenko match in every way, shape, and form. Like everything he did, it looked like he was floating on air.
Yep.
Malenko won with his gutbuster move from the top rope. And I am looking forward to seeing more Malenko, hopefully.
Yeah, this cruiserweights are your work rate matches. And I like how Heenan was numbering the moves. Oh, that's move 867.
Yeah, you see that roll up? That's 835.
Yeah.
So after that match, we get a Blood Runs Cold trailer. Do you have any idea what that is, Tyson?
I don't at all.
No idea?
No.
Not even a wild guess?
No.
So if I were to say cold and a WCW wrestler.
Not Glacier.
Oh, it's definitely Glacier.
They started Glacier already?
Yeah, they fucking teased him forever.
I remember they teased him forever, and I was thinking about that too.
Yeah.
But I didn't put those two together. Yeah. But I remember.
Who else is going to run cold? It's Glacier.
Before Goldberg even made his.
Oh, yeah. Glacier was pre-Goldberg.
Because, he pretty much came out and got buried by Goldberg.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Glacier's coming.
So then Gene's back with the unsexy Hooters girls. And the thing is, he keeps fucking up their names. I don't know. I didn't care.
It seems like it was just to waste some time because they were pumping out, oh, here's the second round drawing and all this stuff. It's like, okay.
Dirty Dick Slater and Earl Robert Eaton were next against Hacksaw Jim Duggan and VK Wall Street. And Duggan and Wall Street, they just couldn't stop fighting each other. While Eaton and Slater, they worked really well as a team. I want to see Hacksaw and Slater. I want to see them have like a fucking 20-minute match. I want them to be the pay-per-view. Wall Street has Eaton in the corner where Duggan's standing. Wall Street throws a fist, but Eaton ducks and he hits Duggan. Well, then Duggan hits Wall Street back, and then he gets rolled up by Eaton for the win. So then when Duggan beats Wall Street's ass and then tries to kill Wall Street with his 2x4, but stop because he needs to ho.
Of course.
That's the end of Duggan for the tournament.
But he gets his hose in, so there you go.
Yeah. Next up is Public Enemy versus Macho Man and Ric Flair. Macho Man does not come out when his music plays. Ric Flair comes out, who is with Woman, Elizabeth, and Savage's Money. Which I thought they came out with money, and I thought they were going to bribe Public Enemy so that they could go to the next round. But they didn't do that.
They had better use for it.
Yeah, they give the money to the crowd. So Savage comes out, much to everybody's surprise, and he nails Flair from behind. And then he fights with security, and then the police. Flair, he gets cheap shots in, and then he runs away. It's like far, far away.
He was literally running too.
He would wait until all these people would hold Savage and Savage's back was turned, and then he would come, hit Savage, and then run. Gotta love that.
What I didn't get is why was security holding him back, because he was in the match.
I don't know. That's a good question. Oh yeah, Public Enemy, they win by count out and they danced. So there's that. DDP and the Barbarian faced the Booty Man and Rick Steiner. Booty Man, he's pinning the Barbarian, and DDP, he elbow drops Booty Man in the back of the head. And this knocks out the Booty Man. So Barbarian pins him and he wins. And this was a nothing match, especially considering that DDP and Booty Man have history. I did like that DDP kept bringing up all the pins to help Barbarian win, show that he was a scrappy little team player.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, pretty much nothing match.
Up next is Jushin Thunder Liger versus Conan for the WCW US Heavyweight Championship. I thought that Conan, his ring attire, made him look like a kid playing dress up. Or like those vigilantes that have their first suit where it's like bath towels and underwear.
Yeah, it's underdeveloped.
Yeah. Mike Tenay on commentary for this match. I thought that was a nice addition. He made it seem a little bit more legitimate. I don't know if he knew what he was talking about or not, but he would say things like, oh, he's using this bone against the bridge of his nose, that type of shit. Conan, he won with a Splash Mountain. And I thought this was a pretty solid match, actually. And how good is Liger?
He's good. I thought this was probably close to match of the night for me.
Yeah.
Which was surprising because there was a Malenko match, so.
Right.
But yeah, I was into this match. Although he did have 3 Ks in his hair cut.
Because he was a rapper or some shit.
Well, then you should know.
Or he played a rapper. Something. It was something to do with TV. And then Jushin, he had like his own 4 horsemen in New Japan. Because he idolized Ric Flair.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Speaking of Ric Flair, that's who Mean Gene's talking to. And Gene says Rick has caused quite a commotion this evening. Flair says Savage is locked up and he's going to go to the nut house. Flair tells Savage to look up in the corner of the jailhouse wall. Then he proceeds to kiss Elizabeth up her arm. And then Flair says that he, Arn, Woman, and Elizabeth are going to have an orgy behind the double security at the hotel tonight. And then Flair talks shit about Steve Mongo McMichael. Mongo shows up, and good to see him. So Flair says he and Arn Anderson are the wrestlers, and if Mongo wants to get one of his old football buddies, come and get some. So then Mongo brings out Kevin Green and his rat tail, which I think the rat tail was taller than Disco Inferno.
It was quite there. I was like, golly. I guess that was a thing in the 90s.
Yeah. Flair and Arn run away from Green and his intensity because he says things like, come on, Flair, let's rock and roll. And then Mongo and Green, they're taking on Flair and Anderson at some point. Green tells Flair to bring his mouthpiece and his jock because it's going to be all day. Then Arn, he menacingly takes off his shirt and scowls.
He's got to earn his money with that enforcer gimmick.
Yeah, which I thought was funny because clearly Mongo and Kevin Green are towering over Flair and Anderson, especially Anderson. Anderson is not a tall man.
He's not. And Green, at this point, was like the hottest defensive end in football. He was definitely of size.
So it's just really interesting to see Arn. I'm going to take off my shirt now. Now things are going to
Actually, I take that back. I think that Green wasn't his towards the end of his career. I think it was long-haired Green that was the menacing one. The bad boy of the NFL, too.
Well, I thought he was a beast until he retired.
Yeah, but he wasn't as, disruptive.
I don't know. Anybody with that hairstyle has to be something.
Yeah.
You don't just
be doing something.
Yeah, you don't just have that. So finally, we are at the 8-man battle royal for the Lord of the Ring. So all those tag matches led us up to this, and it's such a big deal that everybody comes out at once with no pageantry at all. And then they did an unnecessary split screen, like right in the middle of the match, and they only did it once. So it's like, why did they do it at all?
Not sure.
So Rocco, Eaton, Slater, Norton, they all get eliminated in that order. DDP, he diamond cuts everybody left. And apparently at that point, pins just count.
Okay, I thought I had missed something. I was like, "What? He's pinning people now?"
Yeah.
I thought it was over the top. Maybe I just missed the announcement that when you're in the final four, it's a pin now.
I could have missed that, but it wasn't the final four, was it? That was final 5. 1, 2, 3. Oh no, that was final 4.
Yeah, it was 4 when he started diamond cutting everybody.
But still, thought that was a little ridiculous. So DDP, he pins Johnny Grunge and Ice Train, and he tries to pin Barbarian, but Barbarian recovered. So then Page proceeds to take everything that the Barbarian has, and he looks like a gutsy, scrappy, tough little motherfucker. And he eventually hits Barbarian with another diamond cutter for the win. And Page gets a shot at the WCW Heavyweight Championship. And hopefully it's not against the Giant for his sake.
Or he will be in tape.
Yeah, that's probably where the tape comes from. I wonder.
Yeah, I was thinking, well, I think that's the origin story of the tape.
So Mean Gene talks to the Giant. Gene says Hart is going to be handcuffed to Luger. And then Hart pleads with Luger, it doesn't have to be this way, baby. Come on, Lex. Gene brings up Sting's past championships to the Giant. Giant says Sting may have been on top, but he's not on top. Sting, you can stay hungry and try to take what's mine, but it's not going to happen. Sting, you have been a thorn in my side, a rat under my bed, a cockroach in my apple pie. Tonight, I exterminate everybody. You, Lex Luger, Giant turns to Gene, maybe even you if you get in my way. And yeah, that was it. It's kind of sad he didn't do a little rhyme.
Yes, I was disappointed. Funny enough, I was actually driving this last week, and it finally hit me why he was doing rhymes. And it's because he's a giant.
Yeah.
The Giant.
Yeah.
I didn't know why he was doing rhymes, but it finally hit me. Oh, it's because he's a giant.
Yeah.
And giants speak in rhymes.
Apparently not anymore.
Sadly.
And that brings us to our main event of the evening. Sting versus the Giant. And the Giant just beats Sting's ass from one end of the ring to the other. And then he beats his ass on the outside of the ring. Then Luger, he had to help Sting. Sting elbows the ref, and that takes him out. That manages to give Sting the advantage. And Giant's in the corner, so he starts choking Luger. And then Sting starts splashing him while his back is turned, and he's choking Luger. He splashes him like 4 or 5 times before he finally lets go. Sting tries to splash Hart, who Luger put on the ropes, and Sting misses, but then staggers and then does a flare bump into the Giant's cock.
That was a nice little chain reaction, as they call it.
Hart tries to throw a megaphone into the ring, but Luger, he stops him. Then he snatches the megaphone from Hart. But Sting had the Giant and the sharpshooter right up against them. So his face got nailed with the megaphone as Lex Luger snatched it away. So that gives the Giant an opportunity to hit his chokeslam. And he wins. And that was it.
That was a pretty good match, though. Wasn't a match of the night.
No.
A little bit overbooked, especially with the megaphone thing. Like, it's the Giant. I don't think he needs that. But
right.
I guess you're trying to protect Sting. But overall, I thought it was a pretty decent match. The Giant impresses me. I
just thought it was nice to have something that made sense in the night. Because
like a real main event, too.
Yeah, because Hogan's shit is just out there.
Oh, yeah, and there was no Hogan on the show either.
Yeah, and that was kind of a pleasant thing, I hate to say.
Oh, he's about to come back, so...
Oh, he's going to come back in force.
Yeah.
Speaking of coming back, he's going to be in WrestleMania 7, which is our next one.
WrestleMania 7 against Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah, Hogan versus Slaughter. Undertaker makes his debut against Jimmy Snuka.
And I remember that match.
Yeah. Savage has a retirement match against the Ultimate Warrior.
I think I remember that match too.
I think Virgil and DiBiase, they have a match as well. But yeah, that's next week.
That is next week. And on that note, if you disagree with anything, let us know in the comments below. If you agree with anything, let us know in the comments below. Again, don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Follow us on all the social medias: TikTok, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Spotify. And until next time, Top Guys out.